What is the best testosterone diet to eat? It's a question I get a lot. I get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of people. It's a good question because it's addressing something that is. It depends on the individual, but you could argue that this is the biggest factor of all of them when it comes to raising your test to 800 to 1200 naturally. Um, Obviously, if you're sleeping 2 hours a night or you've never you've not seen the sun in 6 months, then that's going to be the biggest factor for you. But for generally speaking, diet is just hugely important. You've got to get it right. So it's a good question. Which foods are going to be the best bang for your buck, metaphorically, and which foods are going to be the ones to go for. And before I get into this, one second. Yeah, I just want to say that I don't want to knock certain diets. The carnivore diet and keto, but especially carnivore, they are miles better than the average person's diet. The standard American diet or the standard British diet, which, believe it or not, is not fish and chips. It's actually very similar to the American diet, especially the modern world with tech and Deliveroo and stuff. It's all McDonald's, and it's very similar. McDonald's are genius. They've managed to convince a bunch of people around the planet that eating junk food and annihilating your own testosterone is somehow cool. I don't know how they've done it, but they've got rich doing it. Genius. But it's like the standard British diet, very similar to American, and that pales in comparison to carnivore. Carnivore is a good start, and they get it right with the red meat, the eggs, and that cholesterol and the vitamins and nutrients is a really, really good combination for testosterone. But it's only a start. It's not complete. You need more than that. And also, because I'm starting to get a few more views on some of these videos, and there's probably one or two of you who are on TRT right now, so testosterone replacement therapy for the other guys, and you probably want to come off, which is why you're watching this. Whatever you do, please don't do carnivore if you're on TRT, because that's a recipe for a heart attack. The cholesterol doesn't work the same the body doesn't work the same when you're injecting hormones into yourself versus when you're completely natural, even if your blood work technically looks the same. And the cholesterol does not get utilized the same. It's more like to get stored. Plus, TRT has a funny way of raising LDL quite easily and pushing down HDL quite easily, which is never a good thing. And so yeah, just don't do that if you're on TRT. The carnivore thing is a good idea, and the cholesterol's okay. It's fine. It's not something to worry about for natural guys. But yeah, carnivore is a great start. The red meat, some chicken. I know they're not huge fans of, but chicken thighs. Some seafood, but there's a huge focus on red meat. Organ meats especially are brilliant. Definitely get your organ meats in. But going on past that, again, people don't want to hear this, but cruciferous veg is extremely important for testosterone, especially in a world where estrogen's rising, prolactin potentially in some people is rising. You're going to want the cruciferous veg, maybe some maca root thrown in to keep the estradiol from getting too high, because when that's too high, you're not going to be high T. It's basically impossible. So cruciferous veg, broccoli, cauliflower, those kinds of things, sprouts. Fruits. For ages, for years on Twitter, my old account, the Forever Alpha blog one, used to be more of a fat loss focus. I used to say, avoid sugar, but not fruit. Fruit is not, an apple pre-workout is not the same as a bag of Haribo. Like, it's not remotely the same. Fruit is extremely anabolic for guys who are active. It's nutrient dense, it's got fiber. Certain fruits can be very, very useful for libido and bedroom performance. So things like watermelon, pineapple, things like that can be useful. It's nutrient dense. Kiwi's a great source of bromelain, which helps the digestion of red meat, so it helps the carnivore side of things. And also, fruit's great for controlling cortisol. I recommend a lot of guys who struggle with sleep. A couple of clients have had a lot of success with this recently, and I know I have. Have a kiwi or two before bed. I know it sounds crazy, but quite often your cortisol levels are quite high. Your brain is too active at 10 p.m. when you're supposed to be falling asleep. Some fruit can really help with that. Fruit and GABA, which is my biggest supplement recommendation for sleep. I'm giving you too much in one video here, aren't I? But it really makes a big difference sleep-wise. So fruit is fantastic. Don't skip your fruit. It's not carbs are all evil. Seafood. There's a lot of focus on red meat on Twitter because of the masculinity thing. But seafood doesn't really get enough attention. Fatty fish especially, but certain things like mussels and mind blank, but fatty fish especially, really, really useful. I personally like, when I talk about raw garlic and raw onion, which is also great for sperm health, fertility, luteinizing hormone stimulation, I add the raw garlic and raw onion to seafood because I think it goes really well. It tastes nice. But seafood is really important. Tons of nutrients, tons of vitamins. Great for inflammation levels as well, potentially. So that's another one. And just as an extra here, because there's quite a lot of vegetarian guys who watch my videos and tweets and ask questions. What should you eat if you're vegan or vegetarian? You're putting yourself in a tough spot by not eating any meat or seafood or even eggs, but some of you guys can eat eggs. Your best bet is going to be things like Brazil nuts, olive oil, ghee, that's for the Indian guys, tiger nuts, avocado, and if you can eat eggs, double down, triple down on the eggs, because eggs could be the difference between you having rock bottom test and like reasonably good test. Eggs could be the difference. So however many eggs you're eating right now, eat more, but foods wise, I would say that's the foundations for this video. If you click the link below, it'll take you to the FAQ page. There's definitely a bit more information there, and there's a blog post link there which definitely goes into more detail, and it can get you thinking and give you some more ideas for your own diet. And it's also very important to know what not to eat. Sugar and carbs, and not carbs, but like the actual bad carbs, and anything that can mess with your digestion, any kind of irritants, and that's the subjective thing, not everyone has the same ones there, that can be problematic as well. But check out the link below, ask any questions if you've got any by replying to this, leaving a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.